The Awakening Storm. The galactic hegemony had ruled the stars for over 12,000 cycles, a coalition of the most advanced species spanning 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. They had conquered disease, scarcity, and for the privileged few who sat on the High Council, even death itself. Their empire encompassed hundreds of worlds, each carefully integrated into their grand design of order and progress. Elder Krell was the oldest among them. His translucent skin had long ago taken on the blue-gray hue of extreme age, stretched across a frame that had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. As the holographic display illuminated the council chamber with images of a small blue planet, his compound eyes narrowed with concern. "Earth," announced Fleet Commander Vex, a tall, slender being with metallic scales that shimmered in the chamber's dim light. "Third planet from an unremarkable yellow star. Dominant species, bipedal mammals self-designated as humans. Pre-FTL technology with rudimentary space exploration capabilities. Recommendation: standard subjugation protocol with potential for resource extraction within 2 cycles." Elder Krell's voice cut through the murmurs of the council like a blade through silk. "I have analyzed the preliminary data on these humans," he said, his voice carrying the weight of millennia. "Their development trajectory is troubling." Supreme Marshal Zar, leader of the hegemony's vast military forces, made a dismissive gesture with his upper limbs. His exoskeleton clicked as he shifted in his seat. "Troubling. They haven't even unified their own planet. Their technology is primitive. They still burn fossil fuels for energy. Their rate of advancement is unprecedented," Krell countered. "From first flight to lunar landing in less than 7 decades. From splitting the atom to global information networks in less than a century." He paused, his eyes flickering with an inner light. "They are dangerous not for what they are, but for what they may become. All the more reason to establish control now, while they remain manageable," Zar argued. "A single demonstration of our power should be sufficient to bring them to heel." Krell's skin pulsed with warning colors. "You do not understand these creatures. I have studied their histories extensively. They do not respond to force with submission. They respond with resistance, adaptation, and escalation. Their entire evolution is built upon conflict and survival against overwhelming odds." The council chamber fell silent as Krell continued, his tone grave. "Leave them be. Let them develop in isolation until they mature beyond their violent tendencies. If we attempt to subjugate them now, the consequences will be severe." His warning echoed throughout the chamber, but it was Marshal Zar who spoke next, his voice carrying the weight of growing consensus. "With respect, Elder, your caution borders on paranoia. The hegemony does not hide from primitive species. We have integrated thousands of civilizations. These humans will be no different." The vote was taken. The hegemony would proceed with the subjugation of Earth. Elder Krell's lone dissenting vote was recorded, and he departed the chamber with a final warning. "You have doomed us all." The hegemony arrival on Earth was deliberately overwhelming. Massive ships appeared simultaneously over every major city on the planet, their hulls gleaming like polished obsidian in the sunlight. The message broadcast to every communication device on Earth was simple: your planet is now under hegemony protection. Resistance is futile. Compliance will bring advancement and prosperity. The initial human response was exactly as the hegemony's strategic AI had predicted: confusion, panic, and fragmented resistance. Military forces scrambled jets that were neutralized before they could even approach the alien vessels. Missile launches were intercepted with ease. Communication networks were infiltrated and controlled within hours. Within 3 days, most of Earth's governments had surrendered. Marshal Zar, appointed as Earth's provisional governor, addressed the High Council with satisfaction. As predicted, minimal casualties and almost no infrastructure damage. The integration process can begin immediately. 2 weeks later, Zar's reports remained optimistic. Hegemony administrative centers had been established in former government buildings. Human representatives were being processed and evaluated for administrative roles. Resources were being cataloged and extraction operations planned. It was on the 27th day that the first signs appeared that things might not proceed as smoothly as predicted. A hegemony administrative center in what had been London went dark. Initially assumed to be a technical malfunction, the response team found the facility completely destroyed, not by explosives, but by a precisely targeted electromagnetic pulse that had been specifically calibrated to the frequency of hegemony technology. 3 days later, 4 more facilities were attacked using the same method. Hegemony personnel were not killed but found unconscious, their neural implants disabled by a bioelectrical agent that should have been far beyond human scientific understanding. Tsar dismissed these incidents as the work of isolated resistance fighters with stolen technology. Hegemony security protocols were adjusted, and operations continued. Then came Beijing. The entire hegemony compound housing over 3,000 personnel and the Asian Command Center vanished in a massive explosion that created a crater nearly a kilometer wide. Analysis revealed the cause: human nuclear weapons that had been modified using principles of hegemony phase technology. Technology the humans should have had no way of understanding, let alone replicating and weaponizing in just 4 weeks. Tsar convened an emergency session with his military advisors. How is this possible? He demanded, his exoskeleton flexing with anger. Their technological level cannot support this rate of adaptation. Fleet Commander Vex, now showing signs of stress in his dulled scales, responded hesitantly. Governor, initial analysis suggests the humans are demonstrating unprecedented reverse engineering capabilities. They are not just using our technology. They are improving upon it for specific tactical applications. Impossible. Tsar dismissed. Increase security protocols. Deploy additional forces to all major population centers. I want all human resistance identified and eliminated within the next planetary rotation. But the resistance did not diminish. It grew, evolved, and spread. Attacks became more sophisticated. Hegemony communication networks experienced inexplicable failures. Supply lines were disrupted. And most disturbing of all, hegemony weapons and vehicles began to disappear, only to reappear days later in the hands of human fighters, modified in ways that made them more effective against their original owners. 2 months after the initial landings, Tsar faced the High Council again. The holographic feeds showed a very different figure from the confident governor who had reported early success. His exoskeleton was damaged in multiple places, hastily repaired with mismatched components. The situation has evolved, he admitted reluctantly. Human resistance has proven more adaptive than anticipated. They have formed a unified global network they call the Earth Defense Coalition. They are sharing information, resources, and captured technology at an alarming rate. Elder Krell's frail form pulsed with somber colors. And their technological progression. Tsar hesitated. They have achieved in months what should have taken decades. They've developed countermeasures for most of our standard military systems. They've reverse-engineered our phase drive technology and applied it to their existing weapons platforms. They've even begun to target our orbital facilities. Casualties? Another council member asked. Severe, Tsar admitted. We have lost 40% of our ground forces. 37% of our administrative centers have been compromised or destroyed. Our orbital supremacy remains intact, but ground operations have been reduced to defensive postures in fortified locations. The council chamber erupted in alarm and hurried discussions. Krell's voice cut through the chaos. I warned you. Humans do not respond to force with submission. They respond with adaptation and escalation. You have awakened something that cannot be put back to sleep. We need reinforcements, Tsar insisted. Another fleet. More ground forces. We can still contain this situation. Elder Krell's eyes flickered with an ancient wisdom. Contain. You still do not understand. Look at what they have accomplished in mere months against technology that took us millennia to develop. This is not a species that can be contained. As if to punctuate his words, the council chamber's security systems suddenly blared with alarms. On the holographic display, multiple hegemony orbital platforms around Earth were showing critical failures. A communications officer burst into the chamber. "Marshal Czar, the humans have launched a coordinated attack against our orbital defenses. They've deployed vessels using our own drive technology, but modified with weapon systems we've never seen before." Czar turned back to the council, his exoskeleton clicking rapidly in distress. "This is impossible. They couldn't have developed spacefaring weapons platforms so quickly." Elder Krell merely watched the chaos unfold, his ancient eyes reflecting the emergency lights. "And so it begins," he whispered. "The storm has awakened, and it will not be calmed until it has run its course." On Earth, Dr. Eleanor Chen, head of the Earth Defense Coalition's Reverse Engineering Division, watched as the first squadron of human-modified fighters broke atmosphere. The vessels looked cobbled together, a strange hybrid of human aerospace design and salvaged alien technology, but their effectiveness was undeniable. On her monitors, the signals from 6 hegemony orbital platforms were already going dark. "Phase 2 complete," she reported into her comm unit. "The offensive has begun." General Marcus Reyes, former NATO commander and now leader of the Earth Defense Coalition's military operations, nodded grimly. "Good work, Doctor. Your team has performed miracles." "Not miracles," she corrected him. "Just human ingenuity under pressure. We've always been at our best with our backs against the wall." As reports flooded in of successful strikes against the alien orbital defenses, Rice felt a grim satisfaction. "We're just getting started," he said, watching as another hegemony platform went dark on the tactical display. They came expecting submission. Instead, they'll learn what happens when you corner humanity. The battle for Earth had entered a new phase, and for the first time since the alien ships darkened the skies, humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting to win. As the first part of our story concludes, the Earth Defense Coalition has begun its counteroffensive against the galactic hegemony. Having rapidly reverse-engineered alien technology and developed innovative new weapons, humanity has taken the fight to the stars. The hegemony, shocked by the unprecedented rate of human adaptation, now faces a foe unlike any they have encountered in their thousands of years of conquest. Elder Krell's prophecy is coming true, and the storm of human resistance has only just begun to gather its full strength. The rising tide. 6 months after the hegemony's arrival on Earth, the war had transformed beyond anything Marshal Czar could have imagined. The council chamber, once a place of serene deliberation, had become a permanent crisis center. Holographic displays showed hegemony forces retreating from Earth's surface, consolidating what remained of their presence into heavily fortified compounds. "The humans have recovered 70% of their planet's territory," reported Fleet Commander Vex, his once brilliant scales now dull with stress. "Our ground forces are sustaining losses at an unsustainable rate. Most concerning is their technological progression." Marshal Czar's exoskeleton creaked as he leaned forward. "Explain." Vex gestured to a holographic display showing human vessels engaging hegemony ships in Earth orbit. "They've not only replicated our weapons technology, but improved upon it. Their ships are smaller, more maneuverable, and employ targeting systems that seem to predict our evasive patterns." Elder Krell watched from his elevated seat, his ancient eyes reflecting the chaos displayed in the holograms. "How many times must I repeat the warning? Humans thrive on challenge. Each obstacle we place before them only accelerates their innovation. We still maintain numerical and technological superiority," Czar insisted, though his voice lacked conviction. "Our reinforcement fleet will arrive within 20 cycles. We can contain." "Marshal Czar," interrupted a communications officer, her tendrils quivering with urgency. "We've lost contact with the reinforcement fleet." Silence fell over the chamber like a shroud. "Impossible," whispered Czar. "They were traveling through secure hyperspace lanes. No human vessel cold." "We're receiving a transmission," the officer continued, "from the humans." The central holographic projector flickered, and the image of a human female appeared before the council. She wore a simple dark uniform, her hair pulled back tightly, her expression one of calm determination. "Greetings, Galactic Hegemony High Council. I am Admiral Catherine Wong of the Earth Defense Coalition. Your reinforcement fleet has been disabled and its personnel taken into custody. They will be treated according to the same humanitarian standards we apply to all prisoners of war." Tsar rose from his seat, his exoskeleton clicking rapidly in agitation. "How did you intercept a fleet traveling through hyperspace? That technology is banned. Your hyperspace signatures are remarkably easy to detect once you understand the principle behind them." Admiral Wong replied with a small smile. "Your reinforcements were using outdated encryption protocols. We've been monitoring your communications for months." Elder Krell made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You see, they have already surpassed our hyperspace detection capabilities." Admiral Wong continued, "I am authorized to offer terms. Withdraw all hegemony forces from Earth and its solar system immediately. Return all abducted humans. Recognize Earth's sovereignty and our right to develop without interference. In return, we will release all hegemony prisoners and cease offensive operations against your forces." Marshal Tsar's voice shook with barely contained rage. "You presume to dictate terms to the galactic hegemony. We have ruled the stars for 12,000 cycles. You were living in caves when we mastered faster-than-light travel. And yet here we are." Wong replied calmly. "You have 24 Earth hours to respond. After that, we continue our offensive." The transmission ended. Elder Krell's voice broke the stunned silence. "Accept their terms." "Never." Tsar slammed his limb against the council table. "We cannot show weakness before a primitive species." "Primitive." Krell gestured toward the tactical displays. "Look at what they've accomplished in 6 months. Look at the trajectory of their advancement. This is not a negotiation between the strong and the weak. It is an opportunity to prevent further calamity." In the command center of the Earth Defense Coalition's orbital headquarters, a repurposed hegemony battlecruiser, Admiral Wong removed her communications headset and turned to her senior staff. "They won't accept," said General Reyes, studying the tactical display. "Their entire civilization is built on the myth of their superiority. Surrendering to humans would shatter that foundation." "Probably not," Wong agreed. "But we needed to offer terms before we deploy the Excalibur protocol. History should record that we tried diplomacy." Dr. Eleanor Chen looked up from her tablet. "The phase disruptors are ready. Once deployed, they'll create a cascading failure in any hegemony drive system within the target radius." "And you're certain this won't affect our hybrid systems?" Wong asked. Chen nodded confidently. "Our drives use a modified waveform. The disruptors are calibrated specifically to hegemony frequency patterns." Wong studied the holographic map showing the positions of remaining hegemony forces in the solar system. "Position the disruptors at these coordinates. If we don't receive a surrender by the deadline, we activate the protocol and advance to Phase 3. As her officers moved to carry out their orders, Wong gazed out the viewport at the blue-green sphere of Earth below. Just 6 months ago, humanity had been facing extinction or subjugation. Now they were dictating terms to their would-be conquerors. The cost had been high. Millions dead in the initial invasion, cities reduced to rubble, entire regions rendered temporarily uninhabitable. But humanity had done what it always did: adapt, innovate, and overcome. The 24-hour deadline passed without response from the hegemony. Admiral Wong gave the order, and across the solar system, small, inconspicuous devices activated simultaneously. The effect was immediate and devastating. Hegemony vessels suddenly found themselves without propulsion, weapons, or shields. Critical systems dependent on their phase technology simply stopped functioning. The Earth Defense Coalition's attack was swift and precise. Hybrid fighters swarmed the disabled hegemony vessels, broadcasting surrender demands on all frequencies. Most capitulated immediately. A few attempted resistance with backup systems and were quickly neutralized. Within 6 hours, the Battle of Seoul, as it would later be known, was over. The galactic hegemony's presence in Earth's solar system had been completely neutralized. On the hegemony homeworld, the High Council convened an emergency session. The chamber, once a symbol of order and power, now felt like a mausoleum. How could this happen? Demanded Councillor Thrix, her crystalline form pulsing with angry red light. How could a pre-FTL species defeat our forces so comprehensively? Marshal Czar had no answer. His military career, spanning 3 centuries, had never prepared him for this scenario. Elder Krell's voice was tired but clear. I told you from the beginning. Humans are unique among all the species we have encountered. Their history is defined by conflict, not just with other species, but among themselves. They have been testing, refining, and perfecting the art of warfare for their entire existence. But our technology, Thrix began, gave us an initial advantage, nothing more. Krell interrupted. To a human, technology is not sacred or immutable. It is a tool to be disassembled, understood, improved, and repurposed. Our mistake was believing our advancement would protect us. Instead, we handed them the very weapons they needed to defeat us. A communications officer entered the chamber. Counselors, we're receiving a transmission from a human vessel. It has somehow entered our system undetected. The council fell silent as Admiral Wong's image appeared once more in the center of the chamber. Greetings, High Council of the Galactic Hegemony. The Earth Defense Coalition has authorized me to present our terms directly. Marshal Czar rose, his damaged exoskeleton whining with the effort. You dare to enter the heart of the hegemony, to threaten us in our own council chamber. This is not a threat, Marshal Czar. It is a reality you must accept. Wang's expression remained calm. We have demonstrated our capability to neutralize your forces. We could extend the Excalibur protocol to this system as well, but we prefer a diplomatic solution. She continued, the terms are simple. The hegemony will recognize Earth and its solar system as sovereign territory. You will cease all hostile actions against humanity. You will share your star maps and establish diplomatic relations on equal footing. In return, we will not expand beyond our solar system without prior notification and consultation. Elder Krell nodded slowly. These are reasonable terms. Reasonable. Czar spat. They're dictating terms as if they've won a war that has barely begun. The war is over, Marshal, Wong said firmly. You lost the moment you decided humans would submit rather than adapt. The only question now is whether the hegemony is wise enough to accept this new reality. Elder Krell turned to his fellow counselors. I have lived long enough to see many powerful civilizations fall. Often, it was pride that destroyed them, the inability to recognize when circumstances had changed. This is such a moment. We must adapt or face extinction. One by one, the counselors signaled their agreement, until only Marshal Czar remained opposed. Outvoted, he slumped back into his seat, the light fading from his compound eyes. Elder Krell addressed Admiral Wong. The hegemony accepts your terms. We will prepare a formal treaty. Wong nodded. We look forward to establishing peaceful relations. Earth has much to learn from the hegemony, and perhaps, though you may not believe it now, you have something to learn from us as well. 1 year later, Elder Krell stood in the observation dome of the newly established Earth Embassy on the hegemony homeworld. Beside him, Dr. Eleanor Chen marveled at the triple moons rising over the horizon. It's beautiful, she said, so different from Earth, yet somehow familiar. The universe has patterns that repeat across all worlds, Krell replied. Perhaps that is why your species adapted so quickly to our technology. You recognize those underlying patterns. Chen smiled. That, and we had a pretty good incentive. Nothing motivates human innovation like survival. A lesson the hegemony has learned at great cost, Krell acknowledged. For 12,000 cycles, we believed technological superiority was our birthright. In just 1 year, humans have integrated our technology with their own in ways we never imagined possible. We've had a lot of practice, Chen said. On Earth, technology has always been competitive. Different companies, different countries, all trying to outdo each other. What takes one group a decade, another will accomplish in a year, then a third will improve upon in a month. We've never had the luxury of technological stagnation. Krell's ancient eyes studied her with newfound respect. And now humanity enters the galactic stage. What will you do with this power you've acquired? Chen gazed out at the alien sky. Explore, learn, grow. Most humans don't want conquest. We want understanding. The universe is too vast and too strange for any one species to claim dominion over it. A wisdom the hegemony lacked, Krell said softly. Perhaps it is not too late for us to learn it. Across the stars, humanity's first true interstellar vessels were being constructed in Earth orbit. Utilizing the hybrid technology that had won the war, these ships would carry human explorers beyond their solar system for the first time. But unlike the hegemony before them, they went not as conquerors, but as students of the universe, eager to learn, quick to adapt, and carrying the hard-won knowledge that even the most advanced civilization could be humbled by underestimating a determined adversary. In classified reports shared only among the highest levels of Earth's government, military analysts estimated that humanity's technological development had been accelerated by at least 3 centuries through the conflict with the hegemony. What might have taken generations had been accomplished in months, driven by the ultimate motivator, survival. The galactic hegemony, meanwhile, had begun the painful process of reformation. Elder Krell, elevated to the position of High Chancellor, led efforts to transform the hegemony from a conquering force into a true coalition of equals. Many within the old guard resisted these changes, but the example of humanity's rapid rise served as a powerful reminder of the cost of arrogance. As human and hegemony scientists worked together on joint research projects, new technologies emerged that neither civilization could have developed alone. The synthesis of human creativity with hegemony precision led to breakthroughs in medicine, energy production, and transportation that benefited worlds throughout the galaxy. Marshal Czar, demoted and disgraced, watched these developments with bitter resignation from his retirement compound. The galaxy he had known was changing irrevocably, and at its heart was a species that had gone from pre-FTL primitives to galactic players in less than 2 years. They should have listened to the prophecy, he muttered to himself, watching news feeds of human ambassadors being welcomed on worlds that had once trembled at the approach of hegemony fleets. The Old One knew. He always knew. In Earth orbit, Admiral Wong looked out from the bridge of the EDF horizon. Humanity's first purpose-built interstellar vessel. Ahead lay the vastness of space, filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. Behind lay a homeworld forever change, stronger and more unified than at any point in human history. Ready to make history, Admiral? Asked her first officer. Wong smiled, thinking of how far humanity had come and how far they still had to go. We already have, Commander. Now we're just exploring the consequences. She gave the order, and the Horizon's engines hummed to life. Human ingenuity and alien science working in perfect harmony. The stars stretched and blurred as the ship accelerated beyond light speed, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams into the waiting universe. The prophecy had been clear, that hegemony had ignored it. And now, humanity ruled not just the battlefield, but its own destiny among the stars. As our story concludes, the balance of power in the galaxy has shifted irreversibly. The once mighty galactic hegemony has been forced to recognize humanity as an equal, while humans have leaped centuries ahead in technological development. Elder Krell's prophecy has come to fruition, though not in the way anyone expected. Through the crucible of war, humanity has emerged stronger, more unified, and ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors following in the hegemony's misguided footsteps, but as explorers and innovators bringing fresh perspective to an ancient galactic community. The prophecy was indeed clear for those wise enough to heed it. Underestimate humanity at your peril, for their greatest strength lies not in their weapons or technology, but in their unparalleled ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome any challenge the universe places before them.